kuwaka nchini Kenya. Ni yule mtumishi wa Mungu Apostle Boniface Mwamposa, bulldozer wa Rise and Shine, anaingia Nairobi nchini Kenya kwa siku 3 tu kumaliza kesi zote.
Kenya, kesi yako imekwisha. Nairobi, kesi ya magonjwa imekwisha. Kesi ya giza imekwisha. Kesi ya madeni imekwisha. Kesi ya mahangaiko imekwisha. Ni siku 3 katika nchi ya Kenya. Yesu alikuja kufuta.
Kongamano hili litafanyika kwa siku 3 tu. Ni kuanzia Alhamisi ya tarehe 4 mwezi wa 9 hadi Jumamosi ya tarehe 6 mwezi wa 9 2025. Kongamano litafanyika All Saint Cathedral Conference Center, Kenyatta Avenue, opposite na Serena Hotel, Nairobi. Ni kuanzia saa 6 kamili mchana. Apostle ataachilia upako na kufuta kesi zote juu yako. Kesi yako imekwisha kiuchumi, kiafya na kiroho.
Nimepima, nimeambiwa hamna HIV hata kidogo.
Hata kidogo.
Baada ya kufika hapa, sukari kutoka 40 sasa hivi ni 5.2.
Pigia Yesu makofi mazuri.
Kwa maelezo zaidi unaweza ukapiga namba hii +254 713 161 163. Nairobi nchini Kenya, moto umewaka. Usipange kukosa. Watu wa dini zote mnakaribishwa.
Kenya Ports Authority remains steadfast in its commitment to sustainability through implementation of its Green Port Policy. We are excited to announce that our mangrove restoration program has been shortlisted among the top 3 finalists for the 2025 International Association of Ports and Harbours IAPH Sustainability Awards under the Environmental Care category. This honor reflects KPA's collective dedication to environmental stewardship and sustainable port operations. Visit www.sustainableworldports.org/IAPH 2025-Sustainability-Awards to vote for KPA. Your vote for KPA is a vote for Kenya and a vote for Africa. Kenya Ports Authority, growing business, enriching lives.
Attention all journalists in Kenya. The Media Council of Kenya, MCK, is calling you to apply or renew your 2025 press card now. It's fast and easy. Just log on to your online portal at www.mediacouncil.or.ke. For more information, email us at accreditation@mediacouncil.or.ke or call 0110 131 447 or visit us at Britam Center, Nairobi, or our Mombasa, Meru, Nakuru, and Kisumu offices. You can report violations or press freedom issues by calling us on 0702 222 111. Stay legit. Carry your press card on duty. Always ready, always professional. MCK, promoting press freedom and responsible journalism.
Mombasa show, oh yeah!
Mombasa, it's that time again. The Mombasa International Show is back. September 3rd to 7th at Jomo Kenyatta Showground, Kimani. This year's theme, promoting climate-smart agriculture and trade initiatives for sustainable economic growth. Enjoy smart farming technology, trade exhibitions, fun for kids, and tasty food all in one place. Entry is just 350 shillings for adults, 300 for kids, with group discounts too. Book your space now. Call 0722 556 383 or visit sk.co.ke.
Maonyesho yetu.
Well, criminal teens on the prowl and why Nairobi streets are becoming dangerous at night. We'll also be telling you what police and security agents are doing to arrest the situation. Good evening and thank you very much for joining us. And the world of fashion is mourning the death of an icon. I'm talking about Italian fashionista, none other than Giorgio Armani. You're watching the Prime Edition live from Broadcasting House. My name is O'Brien Kimani. We have a comprehensive coverage of today's event. And of course, the highlights start now before we hit the road running.
Some of those complaints are here about small theft and mugging, and we are going to do something to make sure that that is addressed.
Underage muggers in the streets. Police arrest criminals disguised as street families in a sting security operation in Nairobi. Sovereignty at stake? Mandera Governor Ali Roba says the country's sovereignty could be at stake as claims of presence of Jubaland forces in his county persist. Power to compensate. 18-member panel of experts on compensation of victims of protest sworn in with LSK president now joining the team. And President Ruto enumerates successes of his government initiatives in the agricultural sector. And of course, right on time for the Prime Edition. Our sign language interpreter is Lensa Odingo. Police have launched a security operation within Nairobi Central Business District in the wake of concerns over increased cases of muggings. Interior CS Kipchumba Murkomen, speaking in Bungoma during the Jukwaa Usalama meeting, revealed plans are underway to reshuffle the current police officers as well as address the security gaps. This comes as Nairobi Central Sub-County Police Commander Philemon Nyakombo said they have arrested several persons suspected to be behind the muggings in the capital city.
Bungoma County on Thursday played host to the 35th edition of the Jukwaa Usalama Security Tour. It is here that Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen said they will crack the whip of illegal gangs terrorizing residents within Nairobi Central Business District.
Things like theft, muggings, that is a daily responsibility of the police officers within the area. Operations going on those issues in that area. As I told you, Trans Nzoia, even here, some of those complaints are here about small theft and mugging, and we are going to do something to make sure that that is addressed.
The CS revealed that some of the perpetrators behind the criminal acts had been identified as underage street children, while other criminals had disguised themselves as homeless families.
Some of them, of course, are underage, but that's not an excuse. Remember when we went to Coast for Jukwaa Usalama, there was a resurgence of Panga boys, but we have now been able to deal with that issue. So we will deal with it. And if there is any weakness in terms of operational command, we will redeploy some of the officers who have the capacity to help and lead in resolving that issue.
Nairobi Central Sub-County Police Commander Philemon Nyakombo confirming the arrest of several suspects, however dismissed claims on social media that the muggers were using human waste and crude weapons to rob residents.
And I've arrested so many who have been arraigned before court. Cases are unique, and we act upon them but as individual cases, not collectively, not as reported on social media, where the only common ground is around Archives, Galitos, and Kimani Street. The rest of it, there is no story there. Thus, we must have a name to put to this case.
Additionally, Murkomen warned Bungoma is among the top counties known for incidences of political violence evident in funerals and political rallies.
That multi-agency team shall do a massive crackdown on leaders of goons, regardless of their political affiliations, and all of them shall be arrested and taken to court. We will get rid of Bungoma of all these goons that have operated and abetted for many years.
He also cautioned that defilement cases were on the rise, aided by arbitration of cases in kangaroo courts, cautioning against such arrangements.
We are not going to accept that situation, and that's the essence of the meeting that we are going to have. I'm going to address the chiefs and assistant chiefs and the OCSs that it is their responsibility to ensure that these people are arrested and these people are brought before court, and that the judiciary will also, the DPP will do their part.
During the public forum in Bungoma County, the issue of drug and alcohol misuse also featured prominently as part of security challenges. Giverson Minor, Prime Edition, in Bungoma County.
Give us one minor there, starting off our bulletin tonight. Controversy continues to surround claims of Jubaland security forces pitching tent in Mandera County, with the area governor Ali Roba warning Kenya's sovereignty is at stake. A day after Interior CS Kipchumba Murkomen pledged to investigate the claims, Senator Ali Roba is saying that attention, calling for speedy action to weed out the aliens who he says are threatening lives and livelihoods.
Claims of the presence of Jubaland security forces on Kenyan soil continued on Thursday, with the area senator warning the region's peace and security was in jeopardy.
The situation is worsening by the hour. Jubaland forces are building up their strength within Mandera town itself, inside Kenyan territory, literally taking over our town.
Roba, in a media briefing a day after the Interior CS said investigations into the claims were underway, said businesses in Mandera town had been disrupted. According to Roba, some schools remained closed, businesses were paralyzed, and families were fleeing in fear of stray bullets, rocket-propelled grenades, and an exploded ordnance. He called for a speedy intervention by the national government.
Allowing Jubaland troops to entrench themselves in Mandera, Mandera risking Kenyan lives and property is shameful, reckless, and betrayal of our sovereignty.
This comes as Democracy for the Citizens Party leader Rigathi Gachagua, who was attending a funeral in Murang'a County, insisted residents at the border town had been illegally displaced and fatalities were recorded due to clashes between locals and the Jubaland forces. Gachagua faulted the government for failing to tame the alleged entry of aliens into the country, calling for a speedy resolution to the matter.
Na wewe waziri wa usalama unashindana na governor ako kwa ground. Governor anasema iko magaidi Kenya. Wananchi wanasema iko magaidi Kenya. Kwa hivyo mimi nataka nihakikishie watu ya Mandera, sisi tutawatetea.
Elsewhere, Law Society of Kenya President Faith Odhiambo says she has reconsidered her reservations on her appointment as the panel of experts on the compensation of victims of demonstrations to ensure over 100 families who lost their loved ones during the protest get justice. Speaking after the panel swearing in, Odhiambo maintained that the process should go beyond compensation to address justice, and that will ensure the perpetrators of the heinous act are prosecuted.
According to the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights, 115 people were killed across the country in protest in the last 1 year, while over 1,000 others were injured. The affected families now have set their sights on the newly sworn-in 18-member panel of experts on the compensation of victims of demonstrations and public protests.
Makao Mutua, Professor.
I, Faith Odhiambo Moni.
LSK President Faith Odhiambo, who will deputize the committee chair, Professor Makao Mutua, stated that she made the unpopular decision to join the committee to ensure the families affected get justice.
I have today chosen a bold but unpopular step. Some of my colleagues in the legal profession and also in the public have reached out to me voicing their fears and reservations.
That this particular effort is victim-centered. It is impartial, and it is non-partisan.
Odhiambo has assured the families affected will not only be compensated, but also prosecution of the errant officers.
Should my efforts be frustrated or cannot be or undermined in any manner whatsoever, I'm prepared to do the honorable thing in fidelity with the rule of law and the Constitution of Kenya.
The panel assured the public of its independence and non-interference with ongoing investigations or independent institutions.
That this exercise is not a replacement for criminal investigations or the oversight by the bodies that are mandated by our Constitution.
Professor Makau Mutua said cases that warrant prosecution will be presented before the courts for action.
Rebuilding trust and verifying the beneficiaries and securing sustainable funding will be challenging. And that is why this process must be anchored in legislation to guarantee consistency, transparency, and enforceability beyond what prevails in the day.
Currently, the case of the late Rex Masai is ongoing at the Milimani Law Courts. Abdiaziz Hashim for Prime Edition.
Elsewhere, the National Assembly Committee on Defense, Intelligence and Foreign Relations has concluded the vetting of 4 ambassadorial and consular nominees, with the crisis in Goma in the Democratic Republic of Congo dominating the vetting process. Kinshasa having formally rejected Kenya's consul general to Goma, security concerns in Haiti, safety of Kenyan refugees in the troubled region, and labor issues in the Gulf also dominated the sessions.
Edwin Afande, do swear.
The vetting of the second batch of ambassador and consular nominees concluded on Thursday, with sharp focus on Kenya's strained ties with the Democratic Republic of Congo. Judy Keria, nominated to serve as Kenya's envoy to Kinshasa, faced tough questions after it emerged that DRC government had formally opposed the appointment of an envoy to the region.
In the event that we experienced tensions between the authorities in DRC and our Kenyan businesses in Goma, what diplomatic skills or interventions will you employ to ensure that we diffuse those tensions?
You are aware of the workings of the M23, the historical insecurity that dates back to even the Belgium occupation of that region. How vast are you with the knowledge of this area?
This is a very hostile country. They have had even an issue with your appointment. You know, they might even reject your papers, even if we were to approve you today.
Keria acknowledged the rejection, but pledged to engage diplomatically to restore relations and protect Kenyans living in the Democratic Republic of Congo, particularly in Goma, where insecurity remains a challenge.
Given the opportunity, I would collaborate with the local authority, that is the DRC officials, the government officials, and other stakeholders, to clarify and also to tell them the intentions and the plans that we have, mostly on mutual benefit of our cooperations economically, so that they can understand that we have the goodwill, and our posting there, my posting there is not malicious, it is constructive.
For Riyadh, Saudi Arabia nominee Joseph Musyoka Masila, the rising cases of abuse facing Kenyan domestic workers in Saudi Arabia formed the basis of the agenda.
This labor migration that was updated in 2022, do you think it actually covers the problem? Because I feel like we still are not doing enough to protect the lives, especially women, because most of these that have died there are women. So what do you think is the cause or the underlying cause of these deaths?
One of the things I noted in that revised BLM is it has specifically outlined the obligations of actually four parties. One is the obligation of the employer in terms of safeguarding the welfare and interest of the workers. Number two, the obligation of the recruitment employment agency the private employment agencies.
Others who faced the committee are Jane Toritich, Consular General nominee to the United Arab Emirates, Dubai, and Edwin Afande, ambassadorial nominee to Vienna, Austria. The committee now retreats to write its report before tabling the report upon the resumption of the House, which is currently on recess.
Have the liberty to do it.
Well, Medical Services Principal Secretary Dr. Ouma Oluga has urged county governments to cooperate with the Ministry of Health to ensure that contracts for universal health coverage staff are reviewed. The reviews will facilitate payment of the UHC staff as per the Salaries and Remuneration Commission rate for the remaining part of their contract. This follows a directive from a joint meeting between the Ministry of Health and the Council of Governors on Tuesday this week. At the same time, Controller of Budget Margaret Nyakango has called on counties to embrace the new electronic government procurement system. They spoke in Mombasa during the Health County Executive Committee members' quarterly meetings.
I'm told the procurement plan is online. Please go ahead and do it. Do not keep protesting, saying it is going away. It will not go away. It is with us. People complained about IFMIS. They have been complaining to date, as I speak to you. People still complain about IFMIS. Did we stop using it? Please get used to EGPS. We are all in it.
The council agreed that we are going to pay the UHC staff as per SRC rates. True or false? And we at the Ministry of Health have the money. But the contracts are with the county public service boards. Are they with the county governments? Let me say that. We would like the CCs to help us with initiating the process so that the county public service boards could alter the contracts.
Elsewhere, women and youth are now at the center of powering the affordable housing agenda, forming nearly 75% of the workforce across the affordable housing states or sites nationwide. From brick and mortar to running supply chains, these special interest groups have now become the face of one of Kenya Kwanza's administration's flagship projects. John Jacob Kuria toured sites in Uasin Gishu, Vihiga and Kisumu counties and brings us the story of great growth and empowerment.
Kisumu's Lumumba Affordable Housing Site. A beehive of activity as the workforce erects these blocks that will house 2,348 units of the affordable housing program. Launched in May last year by President William Ruto during his Nyanza tour, these towering structures reflect the momentum of a project set to be completed by January 2026. But behind the concrete and cranes are stories of transformation, women and youth who, after toiling for years in joblessness, have bagged themselves an opportunity.
Saa hii napata vizuri juu huko zamani nilikuwa naenda nakosa kazi narudi kwa nyumba nilikuwa natezeka lakini saa hii napata ya kila siku.
Before I was out of school last year but I was just seated there finding these jobs. I was not getting something. I was idle. Just making stories with the border people, making stories everywhere, walking aimlessly within the town. But right now I'm engaged. I come at 6. I go out 6. I'm very busy. I'm very happy for Mr. President.
Kabla nikuja hapa nilikuwa nafanya sales and marketing. Sasa nikaona sales and marketing haina kitu. Ikabidi niingie kazi ya ujenzi. Na kazi ya ujenzi ilikuwa kubwa ndo maana niliingia. Haiwezi isha leo ama kesho.
From plumbing and metalwork to shadowing project managers, these roles are now a lifeline.
I came as an intern. They trained me around 2 months. Then they absorb me as a general supervisor of the whole project. So naambia tu raisi azidi tu kuleta project. Najua hii sahi project imesaidia watu wengi mates wetu hapa saizi. Unapata mtu ametoka 5. Insecurity saizi na reduce Kisumu.
Nilikuwa na kazi but nilikuwa nimesomea plumbing but sikuwa nimepata kazi. I'm working at the plumbing department Nashukuru Ruto kwa kuleta hii kazi, at least unaweza pata ya kila siku. Namshukuru sana kabisa.
Niko na wa university, Maseno University na Egerton msichana.
Unaweza kuwalipia sasa?
Saa hii nalipa loan vizuri, nachukua loan nalipa, alafu watoto wanaenda shule.
For a long time, we've seen leadership with no anything involving us as youths. And right now we must appreciate and we must say, Kumi bila break, for we need a leader who will forever engage us, will make us busy doing things and getting money at the same time.
From yesterday, we were talking about 1,500 casuals, roughly ladies being around 600.
And it is not just on site. With nearly 1,500 workers clocking in daily, food vendors have set up shop, feeding the workforce and fueling their own businesses.
Nauza pilau, chapati, chai, ugali, kila kitu. Before that, nilikuwa nikiuzia kwa mlango. So venye niliona hii hapa hivi, sasa nikaamua pia nikuje hapa ndani nijitafutie riziki kidogo.
A story replicated at the Pioneer Affordable Housing site in Eldoret.
Watatu, ni wakati nikikuja hapa mtoto alikuwa form 1. Alikuwa anaenda shule akirudishwa. Sasa nimemaliza school fees. Sasa sidai chochote. Sasa mimi ni kukula tu. Sasa mimi niko raha.
Kama sisi wajenzi tunashukuru sana. At least nilianza kama mtu wa mkono kwa stima, but sasa nashukuru sana, mimi ni fundi.
Tunafanya kazi huko. Mashallah, mimi ni mwanafunzi. Naenda shule jioni. Na nashukuru pia kwa hii kazi. Imenisaidia kulipa school fees.
In Eldoret's Kidiwa site, we meet Joachim Olwanda from Migori County, a Bachelor of Arts in Geography graduate from Moi University. He's taken up welding and fabrication, gaining hands-on experience while earning a living.
I decided to come to this site when I saw this work was going on, and by that time, I was lacking some of the things like school fees, so I decided to come here at least to get some money that could help me. So I came here and I requested for a job. I was interviewed in this welding and fabrication. Being that this is the job that I've been doing since I was born, it was being done by my father, so I learned it when I was still young.
His story echoes a growing call by the special interest groups who are calling for faster rollout of the affordable housing program to ensure long-term sustainability.
Nilikuja hapa kama msaidizi. Nilikuwa nafanya all department nasaidiana, but saizi mnaona na paint. So nimegain kitu juu sasa naweza fanya kazi ya painting. Alafu pia nashukuru sana kwa sababu mimi ni mama wa watoto 4 na nisaidia na watoto wanasoma.
Meanwhile, during our tour, we witnessed completed units in Soi, Mgwen and Vihiga constituencies, each with 220 homes ranging from studio to 2-bedroom apartments. John Jacob Curia, Prime Edition.
Our reporter there, John Jacob Curia, giving us that inspiring story on the changing faces of affordable housing programs. We still got a lot more, including business and sports news. But a quick break is well deserved, and thereafter, we are back with more. Stay right here.
During this 2024 Chan moment, every glass of milk tells a story of care, quality, and goodness from the farm to your table. At the Kenya Dairy Board, we ensure that every drop you drink is fresh, safe, and wholesome from licensed dairy business operators you can trust. Milk is nature's pure gift, packed with calcium for strong bones, protein for growth, and vitamins to keep you healthy and active. Always look for dairy products permitted by the Kenya Dairy Board, KDB, your guarantee for safe and quality milk and dairy products. From our children to our adults, from breakfast to bedtime, the goodness of milk powers every moment. The Kenya Dairy Board, world-class dairy regulator committed to quality, safety, and national pride. At the heart of Kenya's transport infrastructure is the Mechanical and Transport Directorate, MTD, under the Ministry of Roads and Transport. We oversee a network of services spread across 24 strategic regions, ensuring efficiency in plant and transport services nationwide, from road construction and maintenance to the provision of specialized equipment to manufacturing services. We support infrastructural development across the country. We carry out inspection and valuation of government vehicles, plant and equipment in view of pre-delivery, repair and maintenance and disposal. We also inspect second-hand imported. At the heart of Kenya's transport infrastructure is the Mechanical and Transport Directorate, MTD, under the Ministry of Roads and Transport. We oversee a network of services spread across 24 strategic regions, ensuring efficiency in plant and transport services nationwide, from road construction and maintenance to the provision of specialized equipment to manufacturing services. We support infrastructural development across the country. We carry out inspection and valuation of government vehicles, plant and equipment in view of pre-delivery, repair and maintenance and disposal. We also inspect second-hand imported motor vehicles for roadworthiness as per KEBS KS 1515 and conduct occupational tests for drivers and operators. For more information, visit mtd.go.ke or call 0718 976 445. The Mechanical and Transport Directorate, Quality Mechanical and Plant Services. Motor vehicles for roadworthiness as per KEBS KS 1515 and conduct occupational tests for drivers and operators. For more information, visit mtd.go.ke or call 0718 976 445. The Mechanical and Transport Directorate, Quality Mechanical and Plant Services.
What happens when the wisdom of yesterday meets the dreams of today? When our elders share their journey and the youth bring their vision of tomorrow. This is Transgenerational Conversation, a powerful town hall where generations sit side by side to listen, to challenge, and to learn from each other.
I feel like the answers are with us.
If we listen to the issues and act upon them, I'm sure that the next time you're sitting on a transgenerational conversation, you guys will be discussing different things.
From timeless values to modern ideas, from lessons of the past to solutions for the future. Transgenerational conversation. Real voices, real issues, real change. Join the conversation this Thursday at 7:30 p.m. live from Kenya Methodist University, Nairobi Town Campus. Let's ignite dialogue and shape Kenya's tomorrow. Only on KBC Channel 1 in conjunction with NCIC, Korea International Cooperation Agency and UNDP.
Welcome back. You're watching Channel 1, our Prime Edition. Hundreds of Christian faithful gathered in Uhuru Park, Nairobi on Thursday as the 2025 Rema Festival entered its fourth day. The congregants from across the globe gathered in song, prayer and worship, with the preachers calling on Kenyans to embrace the church and evangelism. The 5-day fete, which closes on Friday, was held under the theme, "Why Will Build My Church?" Livian Apostle Sam lauded the event, saying it has come at a crucial time as the church intensifies its efforts to evangelize and empower believers.
So the word Rema basically means word. And so for 15 years, Reverend Julian has been doing this. Would you imagine, Miriam? 15 good years. But we used to just meet for 3 days inside the church. And then we began meeting. Of course, we once met at Lyco Regency. We met at Kempinski. And then now from 2022 is when now Rema Feast blew up. And we had the first major Rema Feast at Kasarani in 2022.
We've been coming here for a couple of years, 2-3 years, and anytime we return back home, this is our testimony, our church doubles twice, instantly. So we learned a lesson that there's something on the ground to be here. So we thank God for this feast.
Well, Kiambu County government has dismissed claims that the county's healthcare is in shambles, faulting a section of the political class for politicizing the county's healthcare chain. According to Kiambu County Executive Committee member for Health, Dr. Elias Maina, the recent healthcare-related protest in the county was stage-managed, aimed at portraying the county government in a bad light. Details of these and more in our county news brief.
Kiambu County Executive Committee member for Health, Dr. Elias Maina, has dismissed claims of disruption of healthcare services in the county, cautioning politicians against interfering with the health crisis.
Let us keep health out of politics. Let us keep health out of our own agendas and respect the dignity of the patient.
Meanwhile, health authorities have confirmed 4 cases of Mpox patients, 3 in Nyandarua and 1 in Laikipia.
We are also looking closely so that we don't have new cases. It is also good to note, and this one is good for the public, that Mpox cannot be transmitted airborne.
Elsewhere, the National Gender and Equality Commission and Makueni County government have launched a joint initiative to ensure marginalized groups access essential services and opportunities.
One of the most disturbing cases came to our attention this morning of a school in Kilome called Kiongwani Girls, where a Form 4 student, a young girl, was sent home last time because she was found with 3 pieces of chewing gum in her pocket. And what did the principal of the school do? Is that she sent the kid away and demanded a payment of 16,000 from the parent.
Separately, road users on the Maralal-Nyahururu route have urged the Kenya National Highways Authority to repair potholes to reduce road accidents. Motorists called for urgent maintenance to prevent further incidents. And cattle traders in Homa Bay County have threatened to stop paying taxes to the county government, accusing county officials of failing to implement agreed changes.
Tumekuwa na mikutano kadhaa na maofisa wahusika, lakini hatujaona matunda. Kitu tunasikia ni siasa, kesho tutafanya, kesho tutafanya, kesho tutafanya.
Separately, Kirinyaga Governor Anne Waiguru has urged the electorate to vote for leaders based on performance and delivery. Speaking during a Thanksgiving and prayer breakfast in Kirinyaga, she urged county staff to remain focused on service delivery.
I won't talk about what we've done in revenue. We have upgraded our towns and all that because you're the people who have done that work. The only thing I will ask you is that let us not lose the focus for the next 2 years.
Elsewhere, learning was disrupted at Kithioko Primary School in Machakos County after parents protested the transfer of the school head, who was recently posted to the school. Parents Teachers Association Chair Benson Duva says the community is demanding clarity on the reasons for the transfer.
Kwa hivyo kama wazazi wanadai ya kwamba mwalimu wao arudishwe mara moja.
Mchuma Odim, Prime Edition.
From general news now, let's talk about business. And Kenya has taken a major step towards easing chronic congestion at the port of Mombasa through a new deal aimed at eliminating costly container cash deposit, a long-standing barrier that has slowed cargo movement and inflated transport costs across the region. The Kenya International Freight and Warehousing Association says the system overhaul is expected to accelerate cargo clearance, reduce truck turnaround times and unlock much-needed working capital for businesses.
The Kenya National Freight and Warehousing Association, KIFWA, entered into a memorandum of understanding with Swiss-based logistics firm Viatrans through its local subsidiary Via Service. The deal introduces a digital container guarantee system that will replace the traditional model where importers and clearing agents are required to place large cash deposits with shipping lines before containers can be released.
This partnership and this solution is going to contribute majorly towards the port efficiency. And it is going to place Kenya as one of the biggest logistics hubs, not only within the EAC and the region, but in this entire corridor and Africa at large.
KIFWA, which represents more than 1,000 freight and custom agents, said the move will not only ease administrative burdens, but also address the real economic bottlenecks at the heart of Kenya's port logistics. Currently, container deposits range from $500 or 64,230 Kenyan shillings for a 20-foot container to $1,000 or 128,461 Kenyan shillings for a 40-foot container in the domestic market, can reach up to $5,000 or 642,305 Kenyan shillings for transit cargo destined for inland markets such as Uganda, Rwanda and South Sudan. Players describe the partnership as a turning point for the logistics sector.
For Kifwa, we are very much happy that our members are now going to compete more on efficiency, and this MOU and this agreement, the solution that we are arriving at today, will not only be advantageous to the shippers and the clearing agents, but it is going to be one of the biggest contributors to our port.
There is huge demand for this service, and we think by our expansion then we are able to help businesses become more competitive, help them to unlock working capital that is usually tied in deposits, but also help improve efficiency and competitiveness of the logistics environment.
Still in Mombasa, where President William Ruto has lauded the crucial role agriculture continues to play in Kenya's economy. Speaking at the opening of the Agricultural Society of Kenya Mombasa International Show in Nyali, the president cited employment, manufacturing, value addition and agro-processing as areas that have benefited from agriculture, hence growing the economy.
Upon the arrival at the ASK Mombasa International Show in Nyali, the president witnessed the auction of the champion and reserve champion steers. After an entertainment interlude, the president enumerated the successes of the government's initiative in agriculture, key being the distribution of 21 million bags of fertilizer.
This has boosted maize harvests from 44 million bags in 2022 to 67 million bags last year, reducing our maize imports by 70%.
He said the government continues to invest more resources in expanding agriculture to improve food security.
In 2026, we plan to distribute 12.5 million bags of fertilizer, nearly double the amount distributed this year, across the whole country in all the 1,450 wards, ensuring that every farmer in every corner of Kenya has access to affordable inputs.
This, he said, will have a ripple effect in growing the economy.
We are now ranked as a country as the 6th largest economy in Africa. Our inflation has declined sharply from 9.6% in 2022 to 4.5% last month. The shilling has held steady at 129 shillings to the dollar for over a year.
From Mombasa County, I am Ann Mburu.
Let's come to Nairobi, where unpredictable regulatory regime coupled with perennial revisions of tax laws is restricting international capital inflows into Kenya. Speakers at the 9th Annual East African Venture Capital Capitalization Conference says, even though Kenya is highly attractive to investors, the country should implement a stable and predictable policy environment, noting that capital dislikes restrictions and uncertainty.
It is emerging as a key source of capital with growing interest in structured debt, mezzanine financing and blended finance.
I've invited private investment through public-private partnership and also in supporting the private sector by injecting capital and that would help in growing the economy. And we have seen a lot of progress in that space.
Speakers at the 9th Annual East African Venture Capital Capitalization Conference says there is, however, a need for predictable regulation and tax reforms, saying it is a crucial requirement for sustaining attractiveness.
Capital does not like restrictions. Okay? We are okay with the regulation, but we want predictability in the policy environment for it to be sustainable.
There has been a notable drop in venture capital over the last 2 years and perceived pushbacks from traditional capital sources. But private capital provider says that's no cause for alarm, attributing the slowdown to shifting global priorities.
It's difficult to ignore East Africa because where we sit as a region is attractive, and Africa in itself is attractive. So you could say we are seeing slowdown, but the East is really interested in Africa, which means the investment proposition is there.
They noted the rising appetite among institutional investors, such as pension funds, DFIs, and banks for participation in debt markets.
What we are pushing for is we should not wait for money from out there to come and catalyze all these opportunities. We have money here. Money sitting in the pension funds, not only pension funds. We've seen money managers now coming up. So there's a variety of products, even circles. There's a lot of capital. But where is it going? If it can get some of it into the productive sector, then we will not have to rely on global flows.
Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Badi says almost all state departments and the majority of counties have been onboarded on the e-platform. Out of the 17 counties that are yet to be onboarded on the online procurement system, 10 are awaiting clearance from the Controller of Budget, and the remaining 7 are expected to be onboarded today.
Before the end of today, that should have been concluded. And so where we have reached, if you have onboarded or uploaded the budget, the next thing is for the various procuring entities to put annual procurement plan into the system, which they have been trained on. And then they go ahead and procure. So this noise that we hear around, we are asking where is it from? And I think it is just pushback.
Wairi Mujenga for Prime Edition.
Thank you, Wairi Mujenga, for that report. Kenya is targeting to increase tea and coffee exports to the United States through shipments of specialized beverages that fetch premium prices. Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe says specialized beverage will offer Kenyan farmers a competitive edge and increase earnings.
United States imported 272,251 kilos of tea in April this year, ranking it 21st in Kenya's top markets for the produce. Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe believes United States has a huge market potential that Kenya plans to tap by offering specialized coffee and tea.
We are also the largest purple tea producers in the world, alongside other products that we can discuss. The Kenya coffee is also a premier coffee, especially where it is not blended and where it has got its geographical indicators.
Kagwe says plans are underway to acquire quotas for Kenyan coffee and tea in key retail stores across the United States.
I have a feeling that there are some of our products that are in your shelves through other third parties. For example, you have got tea, possibly Lipton tea, or what you call English breakfast tea. Well, I've got news for you, it is actually Kenya tea.
And we are looking for a space in Walmart. We produce over 320 million kgs of made tea every year.
Speaking during a meeting with potential agriculture investors in the United States, Kagwe said talks are ongoing to enhance traceability systems of Kenyan goods to ensure more agriculture products access key international markets.
Kenya is the third largest producer of tea in the world and is the largest black tea producer on earth.
So looking at a versatile product that can fit into so many consumer-packed goods and lines.
Beson Rioba reporting for Prime Edition.
Kenya Ports Authority remains steadfast in its commitment to sustainability through implementation of its Green Port policy. We are excited to announce that our mangrove restoration program has been shortlisted among the top 3 finalists for the 2025 International Association of Ports and Harbours IAPH Sustainability Awards under the Environmental Care category. This honor reflects KPA's collective dedication to environmental stewardship and sustainable port operations. Visit www.sustainableworldports.org/IAPH 2025-sustainability-awards to vote for KPA. Your vote for KPA is a vote for Kenya and a vote for Africa. Kenya Ports Authority, growing business, enriching lives.
I will build my church. The gates of hell shall not prevail against it.
This September, Uhuru Park will thunder with revival.
This place that gave birth to a revival to a continent will once again give birth to a revival to a generation.
5 days of worship, word, and breakthrough. Experience word that awakens destiny and presence that transforms lives. Join a nationwide awakening like no other. Come as you are, seeking, believing, expectant.
Rema Feast 2025.
And so here it begins again from the 1st to the 5th of September 2025.
Entry is free.
Welcome back. And Kenyans have been challenged to embrace innovations that could ease everyday struggles, from electricity bills that continue to strain household budgets to infections that put mothers, newborns and patients at risk. At the Kenyatta International Industrial Expo in Nairobi, exhibitors unveiled practical devices that automatically switches off unused lights and regulate cooling systems. Technology experts say could reduce monthly power consumption by almost a third. Alongside them were medical and hygiene products such as baby wipes and protective nursing kit developed to cut down on allergies and infections that remain persistent burden in many hospitals and homes.
You're not changing wires, you're not changing anything, you're not changing switches. The only thing you do is you introduce this into your system and you program it with your phone or on your control panel to your specifications. What time do you want the lights to go on? What event do you want to trigger the electricity to come or the lights to go on and off? Whether you're using it for lighting or temperature, your light bill, we guarantee that it will go up to 30%.
Kenya International Chinese exhibition for industrial, I think it's one of the best that I've seen, and of course we know China have quality products, yes, and also affordable, yes.
Well, suppliers yet to register with the Kenya Institute of Supplies Management will be locked out of government tenders once the e-procurement system is fully operationalized. The institute is proposing its database to be integrated with the e-procurement systems to enforce digital government tender bidding.
The National Treasury is rolling out the e-procurement system in a bid to promote accountability in the awarding of government tenders. Treasury says the country stands to save up to 100 billion shillings through transparency and proper documentation of pending bills. To enforce the use of digital procurement, the Kenya Institute of Supplies Management is proposing integration of their database with the e-procurement systems. This is expected to lock out suppliers yet to register with the institute from accessing government tenders.
GP system overall will be contributing to ease of doing business when it comes to accessibility and visibility of public tenders.
Suppliers have been encouraged to participate in the ongoing e-trainings by the regulator that has seen 1,317 supply chain management professionals trained in the past 2 months.
So therefore, I'm urging all our suppliers and contractors in the Republic of Kenya
to embrace EGB. Let's just be patient. It will rolled out. There will be equal opportunities to all.
EGP has leveled the ground for everybody, for all business people. It's no longer who you know, it's what you do on the system. It's all automated, it's all fully there for everybody to take advantage of.
The Institute is calling on the National Treasury to continuously engage with the relevant stakeholders to make the e-procurement system more user-friendly.
We're working very closely with the National Treasury and critical stakeholders like the Public Procurement Regulatory Authority to accelerate the processes of building a robust EGP system that will be able to aid in dispensing efficiency when it comes to procurement of essential services.
Beson Rioba reporting for Prime Edition.
On to the city of Kisumu, where the city is slowly but steadily emerging as a conference hub in the western part of Kenya, buoyed by the development of major hotels and conference centers. The city has become a magnet for major regional and international conferences, with the latest being the inaugural Africa's Smart Cities Alliance Summit. The three-day summit, which kicks off next week, is expected to bring thousands of delegates from Africa and beyond to discuss trends in the development of cities in Africa. Wycliffe Chieng has more details from the city of Kisumu.
In the last 10 years, Kisumu City has undergone a major transformation with the construction of new roads, railways and piers. This has attracted major hospitality brands like Best Western and Sarova that have set up major establishments in the area. Next week, the city will be in the limelight again, hosting the inaugural Africa's Smart Cities Alliance Summit.
More and more African people are living in urban areas. And in the future, the majority will live in urban areas. But then they're moving to urban areas without proper planning, without proper spacing, without proper facilities.
The meeting brings together city leaders, innovators and investors to advance sustainable urban development and economic growth across Africa, according to the organizers of the meeting. Kisumu Governor Professor Anyang' Nyong'o says the three-day summit provides Africa with an ideal platform to proactively devise sustainable solutions to the challenges bedeviling African cities, such as the growing populations in urban settlements.
So the idea of smart cities is that we think ahead of these problems and not live until they come to our doorstep. Then we begin a reactive kind of policy.
The summit will equally feature conversations on proper waste management to tackle climate-related challenges, as well as the collaboration between the private sector and sub-governments in fostering socio-economic growth in urban areas.
Over 68% of the world population will be moving to cities and urban centers, according to a UN report by 2050. That means that we have to plan smartly. We have to be aware of the issues, right? And one of the biggest challenges is waste management. So MTACA is a big part of this agenda, looking at the ASCA summit and looking at the smart city conversation, because the waste sector needs to get more investment.
Conference itself is not the end of the journey. It's the beginning of a journey. So as a governor has challenged us, we're going to come up with a very, very clear roadmap on what to do immediately, what to do in the midterm, and what to do later.
The Africa's Smart Cities Alliance Summit will be the third continental event hosted by the Lakeside City after the AfriCities Summit in 2022 and the Fast Track Africa Festival last year. For Channel 1, I am Wycliffe Okech.
Let's go to the county of Murang'a now, where Kenya Tourism Board is working closely with the county government of Murang'a to market adventure and wellness sites in the area. The Kenya Tourism Board Deputy Director in charge of Business Development, John Chirchir, says water bodies and high-altitude terrain in Murang'a are ideal for water sports, hiking, as well as cycling.
Ambisho in Murang'a County, and the locals refer to it as Fort Hall, depicting history between Kenya and Britain. But today, it is the first stop in the Mount Kenya Magical Trail Series, a program and an initiative that is led by marketing agency Kenya Tourism Board to highlight hidden gems across the country as Kenya works to being an all-year-round ideal tourist destination. Not a conventional tourist destination, Murang'a is keen on identifying and marketing tourist sites in the area to drive up tourist numbers, mainly those keen on wellness and recreational activities.
Kenya is one of the best destinations in the world for this. It's a year-round, given that we have a cool climate, not hot, not extremely cold. So we invite Kenyans and international tourists to be able to discover this. So for the trail series, there are many groups in Kenya that have picked up.
And one of the strengths that we have is in adventure tourism. We have adventure tourism and cultural tourism. And in adventure, we have whitewater rafting, which happens along River Sagana and River Mathioya. We have some amazing trails along the Aberdare, where people can do hiking, where people can do a lot of cycling. We actually have events that have been happening here in Murang'a County. Like recently, we hosted the African Rafting Championship last month. And we are hoping to host maybe the World Cup for the rafting competition. And also in terms of cycling, we usually have a Madaraka Day cycling challenge, which happens on the 1st of May every year.
The county government of Murang'a has earmarked 57 acres for investment in recreational amenities.
But we are hoping through this initiative and the others that we are going to partner with the government, we hope that Murang'a is going to be recognized as an international destination.
They were speaking during the kick-off of the Mount Kenya edition of the Magical Kenya Trails series that is highlighting tourist attractions in the counties of Murang'a, Kirinyaga, Tharaka Nithi and Meru. They're looking to leverage the expansive hills that they have as well as a number of water bodies to make this an adventure and wellness destination. I'm Regina Manyara reporting for KBC Channel 1 from Kembisho, Murang'a County.
Mombasa, it's that time again. The Mombasa International Show is back. September 3rd to 7th at Jomo Kenyatta Showground, Mkomani. This year's theme, promoting climate-smart agriculture and trade initiatives for sustainable economic growth. Enjoy smart farming technology, trade exhibitions, fun for kids, and tasty food all in one place. Entry is just 350 shillings for adults, 300 for kids, with group discounts too. Book your space now. Call 0722 556 383 or visit sk.co.ke.
Pesa ndengalale nazo. Kwani wewe unacheza punda?
Kwani wewe kila siku wewe ulala na pesa?
Kuna zangu za matumizi sio?
Zote utapewa asubuhi.
Basi lakini nyumbani kule watoto wafa. Alale kwa leo kesho wataenda nyumbani. Amina. Hadi leo umefunga mbuzi.
Kwa nini tena?
Kupatia pesa uende nyumbani. Ukakuja hapa uje ufanye nini? Ati hakuna kulala. Utakaa hapa mpaka saa ngapi? Mpaka saa 8 ndipo imerungi yataisha. Could you please elaborate, clarify and substantiate whom are you in this house? Pale manya hapa kitini watu wawili tu. Kwa nani? Kiti ya nani? Kiti ya nani?
Well, there is need for Kenya to urgently fix supply chain inefficiencies to align operations with sustainability-driven investment. This results in billions of shillings being lost through opaque procurement. The House of Procurement Group CEO, Bernard Odote, joins us for tips on what institutions should do to enhance procurement transparency.
Hello there and a very good evening. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Trevor Ngendo. So Kenya's economy runs on supply chains, be it from SMEs seeking financing solutions to government management of procurement and to the global shift demanding sustainable and competitive trade. Today we're joined by Mr. Bernard Odote, the Group CEO of the Odote Group and the House of Procurement as well, who will be shedding us more light on how procurement, financing and supply chain innovation can transform Kenya's economy. Mr. Bernard Odote, thank you so much for joining us. Maybe you could begin by telling us, before we dive into specifics, maybe you can tell us about your big picture vision of how procurement and supply chain can transform Kenya's economy.
Thank you, Trevor, and thank you very much for visiting us here at the House of Procurement. Much appreciated. The economy runs on the supply chain, and the economy is a summation of transactions. You are either buying for cash, buying for credit, or buying for instruments. A totalization of those transactions is what makes an economy. The economy requires a physical flow of goods and a financial flow. That's very critical on how an economy can thrive. It means that we must get our supply chain right, both in terms of localizing, if we can produce much more locally, in terms of spending effectively for government, doing much more with the same or doing much more with less to ensure that we impact more. And we should be able to do as much cost-effective sourcing, spending as less as possible so that we can spend more to offer more services. So the supply chain and procurement is the heart of the economy. If you don't have logistics, if you don't have flow of goods, if you cannot produce them, if you cannot pay for them, you don't have an economy.
All right, so Kenya's economy, the SME sector is the backbone of the Kenya's economy, you'd say that. Yet many of them collapse because of under cash flow gaps. So what's an alternative model that can be adopted to help them scale?
I think running a business is not easy, and for SMEs it's even harder. And sometimes the cash flow is a result of many things. Maybe it's delayed payment, for example, pending bills by government. Maybe they supplied a corporate that has also gone under, or they paid in advance to a supplier in China and it was never, the goods were never delivered, or they costed wrongly. So it's a combination of many factors, including not being able to get financing from the traditional financial institutions, but that makes them find it very difficult to thrive and do business. There are many ways to resolve that, but most importantly, if I was advised SMEs is to focus on demand generation. Let's make sure we have enough market, then capital will always follow demand, and then we see how to structure that capital in a way that they pay after they get paid. This will be an important way, but also for SMEs is also to look at who we trade with, how we issue credit. I encourage SMEs not to give anybody credit, go for cash payment as much as you can. And even for big corporates giving SMEs business, pay them as early as possible. And for government, there's a preferred payment bill somewhere that is not an act. If we can get that agro for suppliers paid in 21 days, you'll see a very big impact.
How scalable is this kind of a model?
It's very scalable because an SME it's almost everybody doing business with you. It's almost everybody in the next shop, in the next corner, selling stationery, almost everybody. And for corporations or for banks that look at if a corporate is making 500 million and above, if you look at 500 million and below, it's almost the whole country is in there. So it's very scalable. It is the economy. It is what people livelihoods depend on.
What are some of the risks that you face, and how can you de-risk some of these businesses?
The risk is always the receivable. I think for anybody or an SME or anybody structuring financing, receivable is the risk. I would like to support the SME, but I would like to know who is paying them. How are they getting paid? How are they collecting? So if it's an SME who is trading in someone with an exhibition shop, electronic shop, hardware, they should do as much cash as possible. If anybody comes for credit, let them take a loan, come and pay the SME the hardware and get the goods. If the SME is supplying a corporate, we need to look at the risk, the payment risk, especially the historical payment risk of that corporate. A lot of payment is more behavioral than actually people having money or not. So the more receivables are held out for an SME, the more difficult it becomes. So once we are able to ring fence and de-risk the receivables, it's not so difficult to support the SMEs. And then the second risk is performance risk. When the SME gets the business, do they know where to get what they have been given? Do they know how to source? Do they know the logistics? If they're importing, do they know all those nuances? Will they order the right thing? Will they get the right Chinese supplier, for example? So if we can also de-risk performance and ensure the SME performs, and the receivable risk was also sorted, then you have magic happening for the SME sector.
If then corporates are to thrive in such kind of a model, then the government asset management and of course the procurement and asset use must also be transparent. So let's talk about that. So Kenya's public procurement is often characterized with wastage and of course lack of transparency and inefficiency as well. So under the House of Procurement, how are you able to unlock value from idle assets?
I think most procurements, public or private, have issues. It's money being spent, so there's interest. People are interested. The community where you operate are interested. The stakeholders are interested. Banks are interested to finance large corporates for their procurement. Insurance are interested. So there's always be people lobbying and haggling for business. So I don't think Kenyan public sector is not transparent. There's a lot of transparency in how sourcing and procurement is done. I think the mistake that the public sector has done is these spending bills. I would say so far so good. Obviously there could be scandals here and there. There could be overpricing here and there. I think if we can get our pricing well, market intelligence, so that we know, I think with the establishment of this EGP platform, if we're able to almost real-time see pricing across the country and also do international benchmarking to enable us know that nobody is overpricing a project, then we are okay in terms of transparency. There's a process in public procurement. It's very transparent how it is done. I think it's a matter of, is it value for money? Are we overpricing, over-budgeting for the project? In terms of asset disposal, I mean, you know that the government has a lot of land, idle buildings. You go to places, yellow equipment is parked, old factories. You've seen what has happened with the sugar factories. We need to be really serious on how we dispose or release the assets to get value. For example, the sugar factories, we really need to see them being revamped, investment happening in them, and them generating money to government. The Kenya Railways, Kenya Port, all these people have certain assets. There are state-owned enterprises that own luxury homes, high-value land, and you wonder what they're doing with them. I've given examples of universities who are in debt, and they have assets worth over $1 billion, and the debt is probably $100 million. So the logical thing to do is to sell those assets. Now there's a process now with the Public Procurement Regulatory Authority, with the disposal agents, licensed disposal agents. Their work is to ensure they dispose assets at the maximum value, and they don't get paid. They only get paid from the value they generate. So it means they go out there and make sure they get the best value for that asset, and we can sell those assets to over 150,000 buyers in the world, not only in Kenya, so that we increase the value and government can unlock over 5 trillion shillings on this. So
you've mentioned that of course there's a lot of vested interest when it comes to procurement and public procurement as well. So how do you look at this PPRA licensing model? How do you ensure credibility and accountability in the process?
So the public procurement agents are vetted, is competitive, and we also issue professional indemnities. Some of us have issued indemnities up to 1 billion shillings. It means if I mess up, I have to pay 1 billion. And we don't get paid, and for example, for disposal until we have a credible, valuable outcome. It means we are there to ensure we get the best value or the best outcome. In terms of supporting procurement, where there's conflict, where there's complexities, where they require, for example, where development partners require more quality or value for money, it's very easy to use a procurement expert, an agent, to manage the process for you, so that you avoid issues of compliance, of value for money, of competitiveness. So it's one of the best things that the Public Procurement Regulatory Authority has done. And now combining with the tools and systems being implemented by the National Treasury, I think we are on the right path to ensure that even the smallest unit in the public institution, like schools, will be able to implement a compliant procurement process that is not only competitive, but also gives equal opportunity to the community around them.
Beyond financing and transparency, there is a bigger conversation about the next Kenya's position in Africa, and not just as a participant, but also being involved in the conversation and actually leading. And so where do you see our supply chains headed?
I think Kenya needs to first sort its local supply chain. For example, Kenya is importing a lot of agri-produce. And I'm always saying, if you're going to open a factory, you must also figure out how in the first 3 years, 50% of your raw materials come out locally. If it can be grown locally in Kenya, we must protect it. We must form policies that anything that we confirm our soil can grow. If the Ministry of Agriculture and the agronomists confirm our soil can grow soya, we should grow soya. We should grow crude palm oil, which is the second consumer of our forex. Wheat, we should grow it as much as possible. And we should put enforcement measures to force the people who are using these things to grow them locally. Multinational companies like Diageo, East African Breweries, we have an animal feed partner like D. Hughes, who are pushing to have local raw materials without any government enforcement or policy. But our own companies are heavily importing. So government must come in and say, how do we first localize our supply chain? What can be grown locally? What can be produced locally? We deal with that. How do we look at our logistics? The rail network is a big network. It's a very important network. From the SGR to the MGR, how do we improve this rail and educate people that are you actually going fast, save money on logistics? Secondly, reduce the number of vehicles on the road by half if you use rail. What about our airports? What about our ports? The supply chain in Kenya, and being that we are a coastal city, we are on the ocean, we have a port, is an opportunity to dominate not only Eastern Africa, but also to export to the rest of the world.
Great. But all of this is coming amid a digital revolution, of course. Like you've said, do you really need to go to Geneva to meet a client? Right? You can meet on a digital platform. What role do this kind of technology advancement and the revolution have to play in expanding the logistics hubs, especially for exports?
Maybe the digital platform sorted meetings, but you still want to look into someone's face. And this interview could still have happened virtually, but it's much better happening the way it's happening now. Goods have to move physically. I don't think they move through any other platform. The aircraft must carry the cargo, the rail must carry it, the ship must carry the cargo, or the truck must carry it. Yes, you will digitize that process so that you know where your goods are, which truck carried it, which airline carried it. You will digitize that process so that the person in Ivory Coast is able to trace this thing coming from Kenya, or even the person in Rwanda is able to see what is in a warehouse in Kenya that is for him, because we could do fulfillment centers here where we produce, keep, and fulfill from here to the region. So digital and digitization is important, but it only accelerates and enhances the physical and the financial. You must get the physical right. So it is important, but we must get our fundamentals right.
All right, let me take you back a little bit. You mentioned about the common currency. I'd love to hear from you what you think about the adopting a common currency as an African continent.
So it's very important for us to look at how do we stabilize the fluctuation of currency, because you do $1 million, and if you look at money books of corporates operating in multi-countries, you see an FX loss, sometimes a very big FX loss. So it must be resolved. And we cannot be trading in Africa in dollars. There are countries you go in Africa, they don't use their own currency, they use dollars. So we have to look at that. I leave that one for central bankers and presidents to deal with that.
All right, so ESG compliance is becoming a very big thing globally. I'd like you to talk about the ESG impact exchange. What opportunities are there, and how can you help? How does it help corporates or even SMEs to be able to compete internationally?
I think for us, ESG impact exchange is targeted to global corporations in the West and the GCC countries and even China, who have targeted ESG goals and objectives, whether in aviation or in manufacturing or in oil and gas sectors or in technology, or in any other sector that has certain demands for ESG compliance, whether it's environmental, societal, or governance, that they really want to achieve. If you look at the whole world, the place to achieve those goals is Africa. If you looked at, they said Africa has the largest arable land, so if you needed to do anything green, the only place to do it is in Africa. We have the youngest population and the most unemployed. So the impact on socioeconomic impact on employment is only in Africa, and you have the labor there. If you look at green energy or renewable energy, we don't even have any energy as much.
Most African countries are suffering from lack of electricity. So if you are to invest in energy, Africa has the gap. If you look at clean cooking, Africa has the gap. If you look at healthcare or logistics or movement of people, any ESG objective that you might have, there's a gap in Africa. That means Africa has a commercially viable ESG opportunities. Not only ESG for the sake of meeting goals, but it's commercially viable. If you invested in all these areas, there's a buyer.
As we bring this to a close, what would be your advice to businesses that are eyeing the global markets?
Africa is the future. Africa is where the demand is. Africa is where manufacturing will be. Every other country is growing older than Africa. We are the people who are seeking and yearning more, the opportunity to learn more. Everything we do here will leapfrog in technology. So there's opportunity to do much more in Africa. Local production for Africans themselves and for export, opportunity to invest in infrastructure from road and rail, the opportunity to connect the entire Africa continent. So I will encourage the global community to look at Africa keenly and come early, so that when you don't come when it's crowded. So come early so that you're not left behind. The Kenyan SMEs, I think for the businesses that are supporting SMEs, critical is to see how we support the SMEs perform and de-risk their receivables. So we have a program for pre-performance and post-performance capital. The SMEs must perform first before they're able to get paid, and when they perform, which we support, we're also able to support them to be paid early. But generally for the SMEs trading in the market, always trade in cash. Don't give credit, collect cash.
All right, thank you so much for your insights, Mr. Bane Dudote. It's such a pleasure to have you with us. Thank you for granting us this opportunity.
Thank you, Trevor.
All right. And there you have it from Mr. Bane Dudote. I've been talking to him. He is the group CEO of the Odote Group and the House of Procurement. He has shed light on unlocking financing for SMEs, procurement reforming, and much more. And it's our hope and trust that you found value from this conversation. My name is Trevor Ngendo. Thank you so much for watching and have a good evening.
Live from 10 p.m. kwa this TV station, tuko na wewe. Now this time round is not just about entertainment, gaming, ni kushinda, na zaidi ya yote, tuko hapa kusaidia. Niko na sanduku zako 12, 3 contestants kutoka pembe zote za nchi, zawadi kibao na games za weekly jackpot. Na ukiuma nje, iko spin corner, angukia yako. Full entertainment na yote na kukuja kwa same station from 10 p.m. ikiwa ni Tushinde Charity Show.
Composing himself, short runner. Oh, and there's a brilliant save from Ochieno.
Kenya's stars on the football pitch continues to shine brighter. The dedication, the self-belief and enthusiasm across the board is visionary.
Olunga against Jaju. And Olunga scores. Perfect penalty into the bottom corner. The keeper goes the wrong way. And Kenya are right back in this now.
Join us for the FIFA World Cup 2026 African qualifiers. Match Day 7, Group F. Kenya versus Gambia on Friday, 5th September 2025 at 4 p.m. from Moi International Sports Center, Kasarani. Live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1. Your true sports partner. What happens when the wisdom of yesterday meets the dreams of today? When our elders share their journey and the youth bring their vision of tomorrow. This is Transgenerational Conversation, a powerful town hall where generations sit side by side to listen, to challenge, and to learn from each other.
I feel like the answers are with us.
If we listen to the issues and act upon them,
I'm sure that the next time you're sitting on a transgenerational conversation, you guys will be discussing different things.
From timeless values to modern ideas, from lessons of the past to solutions for the future. Transgenerational conversation. Real voices, real issues, real change. Join the conversation this Thursday at 7:30 p.m. live from Kenya Methodist University, Nairobi Town campus. Let's ignite dialogue and shape Kenya's tomorrow. Only on KBC Channel 1 in conjunction with NCIC, Korea International Cooperation Agency and UNDP.
Good evening to you and welcome to Prime Edition Sport. Police Bullets FC began the quest in the Sekafa Women's Champions League qualifiers with a 1-0 win against Uganda's Kampala Queens in their Group A Open at the International Stadium. After a barren first half, substitute Emily Moranga rose high to head home for the Bullets, who held on to the narrow lead to the end. Bullets will face Denden FC of Eritrea in their second and final group match on Tuesday, on the 9th of September. Elsewhere, defending champions Ethiopia's CBE suffered a 2-1 loss to Rayon Sport of Rwanda in their opening Group B match played at the same venue. Group C matches will take center stage tomorrow at the JKT, as JKT Queens of Tanzania face Archipelago side JKU Princess. 3 group winners and 1 best runners-up will head into the semi-final scheduled for this 14th of September, with the final set to be played 2 days later. The winner will clinch a slot to represent the CAF region at this year's CAF Women's Champions League finals.
Jocelyn Sabimana, Catherine Nagadia, na weko mbele kwake Peace Modowa, Peace, eta cross.
Kenya's Harambee Stars are set for their crucial 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifier against the Scorpions of Gambia tomorrow at the Moi International Sports Centre, Kasarani. Head coach Benny McCarthy has rallied his charges to go for nothing short of victory in order to keep their qualification hopes alive. The match will be broadcast live on KBC Channel 1 and not just 5, but you can pick 13 radio stations.
Speaking during today's press conference, Harambee Stars coach McCarthy expressed his confidence in his squad, saying they are ready to give it all in front of home fans.
We can achieve, and like I said, this country deserves to have not just been recognized as an athletics country, but as a great football nation as well. So that's the plan. And so far, we're on the right track.
National team is in the right direction with the good progress that is being set up. And the coach has really installed a lot of confidence in the boys, not only the international players, but also the local players.
Gambia's head coach, Jonathan McKinstry, on the other hand, promised a spirited fight, emphasizing that his side will approach the tie with maximum strength, as a win will boost their qualification too.
They're not distant role models. It's not like looking at someone in the Cameroon or in Ghana or in a different country for your African role models. It's people from within your community. And so a lot of these young boys, there's young boys who are maybe 19, 20 years of age, but they remember they were playing street football, when some of the guys qualified for the first African Cup of Nations, and they're from the same community, so they see it, and because they can touch it, because it's right beside them, they know it can be done.
The two teams will be meeting again 5 months after a thrilling 3-3 draw in the first leg at the Alassane Ouattara MVP Olympic Stadium in Ivory Coast. The FIFA World Cup qualifier between Kenya and Harambee Stars and Gambia will be broadcast live on KBC Channel 1 and 5 affiliate radio stations, namely Radio Taifa, Minto, Mayenga, Ingo and Gemi FM. Harambee Stars tactician Benny McCarthy is optimistic that his charges will be going for nothing but a win when they face the Gambia tomorrow in the FIFA 2026 World Cup qualifier, set to be played here at the Kasarani Stadium. For Prime Edition Sports, from Kasarani, I'm Daniel Mwendwa.
Hamtutoki, note that. EB said that. Now let's move on to basketball, where the Kenya Under-16 national team registered their first win at the International Basketball Federation FIBA Under-16 Afrobasket Women Championship in Kigali, Rwanda, after defeating Morocco 55-49 in a close encounter. Kenya started on the back foot, trailing 16-15 15-14 and 14-10 in the first, second and third quarters respectively, before putting up a spirited performance to spark a turnaround that saw them win the fourth quarter 16-4. Their next match is against Egypt on Sunday before wrapping up their Pool C campaign against debutants Cameroon next week on Wednesday.
Tir à 3 points, Kenya se tire, s'anime. Cette fois-ci à 3 points, Rihanna Nyalando. Bang, 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 bang. Et Rihanna Nyalando qui donne 3 points d'avance.
And Nairobi City emerged victorious in the Robert Wangila Memorial Intercities Cup, which was held at the Uhuru Complex after defeating Kampala 30-25 on points. Paul Abut from Nairobi led the triumph to knock out Jonathan Galiwange of Kampala in their heavyweight bout, as Abubakar Hakim defeated John Oyugi in an all-Nairobi affair in the super heavyweight division. Mulenge Kasim saved Kampala the blushes in the featherweight bout, which he won against Nairobi's Paul Omondi, as did Richard Kauja against Humphrey Ochieng. In the ladies' bouts, Amina Matha was declared a winner in the bantamweight division after Veronica Mbithe abandoned the bout, as Sally Anjema proved to be too hot to handle for Frizik Asiko, forcing the referee to stop the light middleweight contest in the first round. And remember that the Robert Wangila Memorial Cup was held in honor of Kenya's only gold medalist at the Olympics, and that was way back in 1988. Rest in peace, Robert Wangila. Moving on is that Zambia, Comoros and Mali will have a chance to tour the Morocco Football Museum before this year's Africa Cup of Nations kicks off in Morocco on the 21st of December with the opening Group A match between the hosts and Comoros. The museum is located just 29 kilometers from the Prince Mwali Abdallah Stadium in Rabat. Dismas Otuke has got the story.
According to the Moroccan Football Federation, the government has renovated the venues as they target to deliver the best tournament than the 2023 edition in Ivory Coast, with both stadiums and infrastructure already in place for the continental showpiece. Majority of the venues which will be used for this year's AFCON will also be expanded for the 2030 FIFA World Cup. The country also brags of deep soccer heritage, evidence from being awarded hosting rights for several international events, both in the past and the future. The 35th edition of AFCON will kick off on 21st December this year, with the host Atlas Lions playing the Comoros Island in the newly refurbished 70,000-seater Prince Moulay Abdallah Stadium in Rabat, the venue which will also stage the final match on the 18th of January next year. The FIFA head office in Africa, the first of its kind here in Rabat, Morocco, will go a long way in coordinating FIFA activities ahead of the 2030 FIFA World Cup, which will be co-hosted by Morocco, Spain and Portugal. Reporting for KBC Channel 1 from Rabat City in Morocco, my name is Dismas Otuke.
Mabruk Shukran Habibi Dismas. Now, the Safaricom Chapadimba All-Stars team is set for their international training camp in Spain. The team of 25 outstanding players will leave the country on Saturday evening for Huesca, where they will train for a week. During their stay in Spain, the team will be involved in a series of activities, including playing against Huesca's Youth Academy and train at the world-class facilities at the base Aragonesa do Football. The players will also attend a high-energy Segunda Division match between SD Huesca and Malaga. The All-Star team will be captained by Stanley Waswa of Endura Sports Academy and Manda Sunira of Highland Royal Moi Girls. And that's a sport for tonight, but we will remind you tomorrow, 4 p.m. is the kickoff of the match between Kenya and the Gambia. But from 3 p.m., the build-up is something that you do not want to miss. We gave it to you during Chan, and at this point, we won't stop the momentum. We keep it going. We do not have our foot off the pedal, and the only pedal we know is the accelerator pedal. For the clutch and the brakes, we can talk about that much later. Have a good evening. My name is Daniel Ohome. Back to you all, Brian Kimani.
Well, thank you very much indeed, Wahome, for taking us through the sports news and, of course, for keeping us updated on what's happening in the world of sports. I mean, we're coming to the tail end of this bulletin tonight, but not before I alert you on some happening. The family of Kikuyu Town Member of Parliament, Kimani Ichung'wah, who is also the majority leader in Parliament, is mourning the demise of his father. This is none other than Isaac Ichung'wah Guge. And the Kimani Senior was aged 105 years old. He passed away peacefully in his sleep this morning. And the Speaker of the National Assembly has sent his condolences, and of course here at Kenya Broadcasting Corporation, from the Board of Management to the Managing Director, the editorial team and all staffs. We wish the family God's grace during these difficult moments. Well, that's all for now. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. You have been watching the Prime Edition with me, O'Brien Kimani. On behalf of the entire team, thank you for your time. Have a good night. See you again on Thursday next week. Bye for now.
Live from 10 p.m. kwa this TV station, tuko na wewe. Now this time round is not just about entertainment, gaming, ni kushinda, na zaidi ya yote, tuko hapa kusaidia. Niko na sanduku zako 12, 3 contestants kutoka pembe zote za nchi, zawadi kibao na games za weekly jackpot. Na ukiuma nje, iko